What is going on, everyone? Jason here, and today we're taking a look again at one of the phones that has surprised me the most this year, and that's the iPhone 12 mini. It's been a month since I first picked this tiny thing up, and no lie, my expectations weren't the highest when I first put in the pre-order. I've been a big phone guy for many years now, and even when I tried to go back to the smaller form factor with the new iPhone SE that was launched earlier this year, I just couldn't do it. Well, 1 month later, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but the iPhone 12 mini is probably the most impressive iPhone out of the 5 launched in 2020. And let me tell you why. Now, before we jump into this review, if you're new here, I'm basically the guy who tests out the newest and most popular tech out there before you buy them to make sure that you're informed and don't make any purchasing mistakes. That said, would really appreciate it if you give this video a thumbs up. It really helps me out. And of course, if you want to stay up to date with all the coolest tech devices and toys, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on anything. So let's just jump into the most controversial part of this phone, the tiny form factor. And look, if you're sitting there saying to yourself, man, I just don't think I could use a phone that small, I feel you. That's exactly what I told myself when the 12 mini was first introduced. But once I actually got the phone all set up as my primary device, a lot of my worries were kind of out the window. And I think one of the main reasons for that is because of the iPhone 12 mini's display. Now, a 5.4-inch display is small, no doubt about it, but when it's on a phone with these dimensions, it's actually pretty immersive. The good screen-to-body ratio kind of tricks the mind into forgetting the actual size of the display, and it still provides for a great user experience. Consuming HD video content is just as good because of the edge-to-edge design, and the same goes with gaming. I think a big part of that too is because despite the screen being smaller, it in no way cheaps out in terms of quality. The OLED panel looks fantastic with everything coming out razor sharp, and using it reinforces the fact that the iPhone 12 mini is using high-end flagship components. So content consumption may be as good as the other iPhones offered this year, but when it comes to UI navigation, the iPhone 12 mini is the best by a far margin. Being able to reach across the entirety of your home screen is something truly refreshing, and it's pretty great being able to zoom comfortably around iOS with one hand. Now, a big reason around the comfort is also due to the phone's new design language. The 12 mini also gets that flattened frame that melts into the glass panel, and the phone fits in the hand perfectly like a glove. The premium build materials feel outstanding, and again underscores that this is a top-end device. Now I get it, no matter how much I talk about how the size isn't a big deal, it's likely not going to be enough for you to pull the trigger, and again, I get that. I don't think I would have personally gotten this phone had I not been a tech reviewer on YouTube, but if you're in the least bit interested, I would definitely give the iPhone 12 mini a shot before you take a pass. If you actually get the phone in your hand, I wouldn't be surprised if you have a change of heart much like I did, and getting over the size is really just the beginning with this phone. Now, before we get into what else the iPhone 12 mini has to offer, I want to take a quick moment to give a big shout out to today's video sponsor, Private Internet Access. So it's becoming more and more clear is that when you're on the internet, your data is not as secure as you think it is. Your internet provider is collecting and meticulously keeping track of every little thing you're searching for and using it for God knows what. It's an invasion of privacy, and frankly, it makes me really uncomfortable knowing that what my family does online is being monitored by some weird third party. Well, that's where PIA comes in. Private Internet Access has been an industry-leading no-log VPN provider for over 10 years now, and I can totally understand why. Not only does it have access to over 10,000 servers across 70+ countries around the world, as well as dedicated apps for iOS, Mac, Windows, Android PC, etc., PIA is probably the easiest VPN to set up and actually use. Once you have it downloaded to your device, all you have to do is remember to turn this button on, and bam! With one click, you have true internet freedom. Takes literally 2 seconds. And the benefits of PIA aren't limited to data protection. It also allows you to access different regional content on platforms like Netflix and YouTube. Just select the server in the country of your choice, and just like that, you have access to a whole new list of content. All your data goes through an encrypted tunnel, PIA never logs any information when you're browsing, and it's PCMag editor's choice when it comes to VPNs. If you're on an insecure internet connection, fix it now by using the link in the description for a special deal that'll give you 3 years of PIA protection, plus 2 free months for only $79. That's only $2.08 a month. It's a very small price to pay to keep your data private and secure. Check out PIA today and get the freedom that you deserve. Now, one of the main reasons why I've been so impressed with the 12 mini is just how feature-packed it is. With the phone being so tiny, it's hard not to rush to an assumption that there's going to be concessions when it comes to the phone's capability, but that couldn't be further from the truth with this device. When compared to its more expensive brothers, there's really no limitation whatsoever when talking about features that matter. You get the same IP certification when it comes to dust and water resistance, the same ceramic shield protection that's on the display, the phone is equipped with Apple's Face ID technology like the other iPhones, it's 5G compatible, and you can take advantage of the new MagSafe accessories launched this year. You also get the rocket-fast A14 Bionic processor, and all the performance benefits associated with Apple's latest chipset. So zooming around iOS is a breeze. This tiny phone can handle the heaviest of spec-intensive games, and it can take advantage of all of Apple's advanced camera features. Speaking of cameras, you get near identical photo and video quality with the other iPhones, even when benched against the way more expensive 12 Pro Max. And it's pretty remarkable how good the cameras on this compact phone perform. The 12 mini has the horsepower to leverage next generation Smart HDR and Deep Fusion, allowing this small device to take arguably the best photos coming out of any smartphone today. Images are tack sharp, you get saturated colors, great contrast, and some incredible dynamic range. Portrait mode photos come out great and have more of that natural DSLR look to them, and you even get the ability to use Apple's night mode with this phone. And really, it only gets better when it comes to video. The 12 mini can also shoot 4K video in 10-bit Dolby Vision HDR at up to 60 frames per second, and the quality here is kind of mind-blowing. The footage is leagues ahead of the competition, and equivalent to what's coming out of the more expensive 2020 iPhones. Now sure, you don't get a telephoto lens or a LiDAR sensor, but honestly, these are features that I think most won't care about. And that brings me to the one area where I feel as though the iPhone 12 mini would be a deal breaker, and that's battery life. There's really no way to skirt around the fact that this phone has a small battery given its physical size, and it logically has the worst battery life when compared to the other larger iPhones. And look, if you're a legitimate power user watching a ton of videos and playing a ton of games, or if you're a content creator recording a lot of 4K video, the 12 mini may not be the best phone for you. But after 1 month of using this phone, I've consistently been getting around 6 hours of screen on time, which is pretty solid for moderate users. It's clearly not class leading by any means, but if you use your phone for more mundane activity like checking social media, Google Maps, and the occasional video here or there, the 12 mini is totally fine. So when you look at all you're getting here with this phone, at a reasonable $699 price tag, it's a pretty value-packed device. Now word is already out that the sales on the 12 mini aren't looking so hot, which again, I understand. I mean, on paper, it's a really difficult phone to imagine yourself using, and it's really easy to assume the worst. You really need to get this phone in your hand, set up, and give it a good test drive to fully appreciate all you're getting here. If you're on the move often and not the biggest fan of larger, more cumbersome devices, but you don't want to sacrifice anything when it comes to functionality and features, it's going to be hard to beat what the iPhone 12 mini is bringing to the table. And 1 month later, I continue to be thoroughly impressed by this small but mighty phone. Okay, that's about it for this review. Don't forget to leave me a thumbs up if you guys found it useful. Again, I'd really appreciate it. Check out these reviews of the iPhone 12 and the 12 Pro if you're looking at other options this year. Let me know what your thoughts are below, and I'll see you guys in the next one.